Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Mount Healthy City Schools Board of Education, January 11th. First, we're going to have our organizational meeting. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Ellis, who is running our organizational meeting. Carol, you're muted.
Okay. Sorry about that. This is a virtual public meeting of the Board of Education to comply with the Ohio Department of Health stay-at-home orders. This is January 11th, 2021 organizational meeting. Could we have a call to order and roll call? Roll call.
Certainly. Ms. Bryant?
Here.
Ms. Ellis?
Present.
Mr. Glenn?
Present.
Mr. Kilgore?
Here.
And Dr. Turner?
I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you. The floor is open for a nomination for president.
Anyone who wants to volunteer can just go right ahead.
I want to nominate Julie Turner.
I second that nomination.
Well, could we have a roll call vote?
Yes. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Since nobody else is volunteering, I suppose yes.
Okay, now we need nomination for vice president.
I would like to nominate Ms. Bryant, if she'd be willing.
No. Thank you, but no. I would like to nominate Ms. Carol Ellis, please.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
No.
Can we have a roll call vote then?
Yes. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we will have the swearing in of the officers.
Hold on 1 second, please.
Okay.
In the excitement over the virtual tax budget hearing, I totally forgot to do the oath of office.
Okay.
Hold on just another minute. Okay, since I also didn't send you a copy as I didn't know who was going to be getting this. I will speak it and you can swear it after me, and we'll do the board president first. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I state your name,
I, Julie Turner,
swear or affirm
swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will perform faithfully the duties of my office
and that I will perform faithfully the duties of my office
as President of the Board of Education
as President of the Board of Education
of the Mount Healthy City School District.
of the Mount Healthy City School District.
Thank you. And now we will switch to the Vice President. And if you will repeat after me again, I, and state your name,
I, Carol M. Ellis,
swear or affirm
affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will perform faithfully the duties of my office
and I will perform the duties of my office faithfully
as Vice President of the Board of Education
as Vice President of the Board of Education
of the Mount Healthy City School District.
of the Mount Healthy City School District.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience, both of you.
It's okay, Becky. It's not like you've ever done this before.
I know.
Okay, it's all yours, Julie.
All right, thank you. Board members have had the opportunity to look over the agenda for this evening. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Okay. Item 10 on our agenda is selection of dates for the Mount Healthy Board of Education regular meetings for the calendar year 2021. Board members received that by email. So first I'm going to ask a motion to accept it as written. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Are there any dates there that don't work for anyone? Sounds like not. Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
You caught me taking a sip. Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Okay. Item 11, appointment of purchasing agents for calendar year 2021, Dr. Valerie Hawkins and Jennifer Wethington. Do I have a motion to accept those purchasing agents?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, that was moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 12, recommendation to approve Karen O'Connell as purchasing agent for state and federal programs for calendar year 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 13 is recommendation to approve the following as purchasing agents for homeless and foster care transportation for calendar year 2021, all funds. Andrew Party and Mark Walden. Do I have a motion to accept those purchasing agents?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis, thirded by Noah, I believe. So do we have any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 14, recommendation to approve all building principals as purchasing agents for activity funds and building budgets. Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Gonna say moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 15, recommendation to approve Michael Burdette as technology purchasing agent. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Kilgore. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 16, recommendation to approve Frederica Richardson as food service purchasing agent. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we take a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 17, recommendation to establish the Service Fund 002310-230 at $20,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 18, recommendation to appoint Rebecca Brooks as Public Records Request Designee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we take a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Number 19 is the recommendation to authorize investment of funds by the treasurer. I'm not going to read the names of all the funds. They are listed in the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 20, recommendation to adopt the tax budget for July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. That was presented by Ms. Brooks at 5:30 this evening. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. That concludes the organizational meeting. We will now begin the regular meeting. So item 1 on the regular meeting agenda is acceptance of the agenda. Board members have had a chance to look that over as well. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 2 is the reading and signing of minutes. The minutes for the regular meeting held on December 14th, 2020 were shared with the board members. Do I have a motion to accept them as written?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Dr. Turner.
Yes. Item 3, special orders. 3A is Mount Healthy Teachers Association. I'm assuming we don't have anything.
We do not.
Okay. 3B, communications, announcements, public input. Do we have anything there?
We do not.
3C, recognitions.
3C is recognition. So I'm very honored to be able to thank each and every one of our board members at Mount Healthy. January is Board Member Appreciation Month, and we do have these wonderful certificates that each of the board members will be receiving. We are very fortunate at Mount Healthy to have a board that, in my short tenure here, really does take their job very seriously, and they are just concerned about the welfare of our students and our schools. So it's been an honor for me to work with each and every one of the board members. I really believe they're just one of the best boards in the state of Ohio. And to honor all of your work that I know often goes unappreciated, we have a short video. Normally, our administrators would be in attendance with us at the January board meeting to give their thanks and appreciation to you in person. Unfortunately, they were not able to do that. So we have a short video that Mr. Burdett will now play for us to show our appreciation to you.
We appreciate you. Thanks for everything you do for our community and our school district. Love you guys.
I couldn't be principal of Hope Elementary. On behalf of our students and staff, I'd like to say thank you for everything you do during these difficult times. It is truly appreciated. Thanks again. Please stay.
Hi, Mount Healthy School Board members, Dr. Turner, Mr. Kilgore, Ms. Bryant, Mr. Glenn, and Ms. Ellis. I just wanted to stop by and say thank you. Thank you for all you've done for the staff and students in Mount Healthy over this past year, and just always. Your support and your encouragement has helped make this difficult time for all of us a little more easy, knowing that we have the backing of our school board. So just wanted to stop by and say for us here at South, We couldn't have done it without you, and thank you. We look forward to whatever the future brings, and continued support for you guys. But enjoy your month. You've deserved it, and we're lucky to have a school board as supportive as you. Thank you.
Woohoo! That was fantastic.
Very nice. Very
Very
nice.
nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
and we do.
Fully
we
appreciated.
Well, we truly appreciate you and the administrators. It's hard to even explain how much it means to our administrative staff to know that they have the support of the school board so that they can do everything that they do in and out every day, making a difference in the lives of our students. So thank you again. We are very, very appreciative for everything that you do.
Well, we appreciate them too. I'm going to tell a quick story about the little certificates. The first year I was on the board and we got those, I went home and I set it on a built-in cabinet, the shelf thing that we have in our hallway, and it went right behind. And because it's built in, so someday someone's going to rip that cabinet out of the hallway and find this thing from way back.
Wow.
But
Wow. Well, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. That was really nice. Item 4, Great Oaks Board Report, and I already know that we don't have one because they haven't met yet.
Thank you.
Item 5 is the legislative report. So let me pull that up really quick here. Put it where I can see it a little better. Okay. First item for the legislative report is the COVID vaccine process. Ohio is preparing to distribute COVID-19 vaccines in phases. Those working in schools will be in phase 1B. For a district to qualify for vaccination in this phase, they must return to in-person learning by March 1st, which we will be doing. House Bill 231 covers medical issues. Governor DeWine has signed House Bill 231 into law. The bill requires the Ohio Department of Education to offer a list of providers of free and reduced price epinephrine auto injectors, also known as EpiPens, and permits school districts to create training for staff and instruction for students on food allergies and allergic reaction treatment. It also permits schools and camps to procure and use injectable or nasally administered glucagon for regulating blood sugar in accordance with prescribed policies, and exempts them from licensing requirements related to the possession of glucagon. And then finally, House Bill 305. I talked about this a month or two ago. Substitute House Bill 305, the Fair School Funding Plan, did not pass the legislature by the end of the legislative calendar. The Ohio House has passed the bill with a bipartisan vote of 87-9, but the leadership in the Ohio Senate wanted a deeper look into the financial impact of the legislation and indicated that they may consider the plan this year. And that's it for my legislative report. I'm going to deviate from our agenda just for a second, not completely, but I've been on the board for 7 years and I've been the legislative liaison for 6 of those years. So I'm really hoping somebody else would like to step up and volunteer to be legislative liaison this year to maybe give me a break. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Okay, moving on. Item 6, report of the treasurer. Giving it to you, Ms. Brooks.
Thank you. 6A is a recommendation to accept the schedule of bills for December 2020.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Brooks. Any discussion?
Ms.
No, Brian.
Bryant?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't get to vote,
No.
Becky. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Certainly. Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 6B is a recommendation to accept the financial statement for December 2020.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 6C is authorizing the treasurer to execute blanket purchase orders. If you would like me to read the whole thing, I will, but I'm assuming you all read it, and then we can discuss it after we make a motion, if that's all right.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Yeah, Ms. Brooks, if you'd like to just go ahead and sort of explain what that means.
Certainly. We have certain vendors that we use on a regular basis who are providing electric, gas, for instance, Duke Energy. There are others like that. We used to have a phone company that we use, but now we have Verizon, and we pay them the entire year. And because of that, we are requesting to make a blanket purchase order for those type of vendors, and we would not exceed $100,000 because, for instance, you know that we pay Duke more than $100,000 a year, as I'm sure so we would have to do other purchase orders. But that would be the blankets. And then we have what is known as a super blanket purchase order. And the only one that at this point that, well, a couple of them fall in this category, but Peterman is one of those. And you actually, we have the authority to issue these in the board policy, but there's no amount listed in the board policy. And that was at the suggestion of Neola, which is our board policy caretaker, so to speak. So they suggested that we do this in a resolution in a board meeting, and then we will continue to do this every year. So hopefully that all made sense. And the blankets would expire at the end of each fiscal year. So the blankets for this year will expire June 30th, 2021, and same for the super blankets. And then at the beginning of July 1, 2021, they'll be issued for the full year, and they will all expire on June 30th, 2022.
Okay, any further discussion? Could we take a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Item 6D is a recommendation to authorize me to create the following accounts: No Kid Hungry and the ESSER program out of Hamilton County Cares.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion?
I would like to tell you that the No Kid Hungry grant was for $50,000, and we did receive that, of course, and they are working on getting quotes right now for that equipment. And the Esser Hamilton County CARES was in the amount of $155,000, which we were able to post against our Peterman transportation.
Becky, was that 6D or was that 7?
60.
No Kid Hungry?
No, the motion.
Yes.
Oh, yes,
6D.
6D.
Oh, okay, that's what I wanted. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes.
And thank you. That's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you. Turning it over to Dr. Hawkins.
Okay, and before I begin my items, I did want to highlight that we will be returning to in-person instruction on Tuesday, the 19th, the day after Martin Luther King Day. This decision has come from input from a lot of different stakeholders. We feel confident looking at the data that we can start transitioning back to have our students in school, to start helping them to be on track academically. We do have our safety precautions in place. Students will be required to wear masks, sanitizers, disinfecting schedules, all of the things that we had in place when we were hoping to return to school district-wide in October will be in place. In October, we did bring back the elementaries, but our middle school, the junior high, senior high did not come back. Everyone, including the junior high, senior high, will return back on the 19th. If students want to continue to be remote, we are allowing for that and will continue to provide remote instruction. We are working with the health department to get vaccine clinics set up and available, and we are listed as one of the priority schools. So as soon as that is possible, we will be housing that on our campuses. So I just wanted to highlight that for everyone before we get started. So item A is the recommendation to approve the following change order for Mark Spalding Construction Company for the Early Learning Center. Change order number 5 is for the change of the U factor on the translucent panels of the skylight, and that is actually a credit. So that's exciting. And change order number 6, there were some revisions needed for the steel, and the cost of that is $2,434.64.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Item B is the recommendation to approve a resolution authorizing the Mount Healthy City School District to participate in the State of Ohio Cooperative Purchasing Program.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we take a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Item C is the recommendation to authorize the business manager to purchase equipment and other items on state term pricing.
Do I have a motion for that authorization?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Item D is the recommendation to adopt the proposed school calendar for the 2021-2022 school year. And if teacher in-service days or professional days indicated on the calendar change due to unforeseen circumstances, no board approval will be required for the change. I do want to just highlight a few things about the new school calendar. One thing that we wanted to make sure, spring break is in March. That is not with Easter, but the reason that we chose to do that, we do not want to interrupt testing. Testing goes through the month of April, so we want our students to be as consistent as possible through the time of testing. We do have a long weekend for Easter weekend, which is a Friday and a Monday after Easter. And also we are ending the first semester at Christmas break. And that also should help with our students not to have to return from Christmas break and to take comprehensive finals in the high school. So those were two of the big changes for this school calendar. The calendar, there were 3 drafts. We had a committee that looked at and developed the calendar, and then we put it out to the district, to every person in our district to vote. And this was the calendar that received the highest percentage of votes.
Okay. Do I have a motion? I was trying to remember if we had done the motion yet. We did not. Do I have a motion to accept the calendar as written?
So moved.
Okay, that was a motion by Ms. Bryant. Did somebody else? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion?
Is the first day of school August 17th?
The first day for students is, teachers will come the week before, and the first day for students is the 17th. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Thank you. Item E is the recommendation to approve Dr. Valerie Hawkins, Superintendent, and Dr. Apollos Harris, Executive Director of Student Services, as compliance officers for the following policies. They're listed below. These are policies that potentially would require a hearing if someone says that their rights have been violated. So if there was a hearing, then myself or Dr. Harris would preside over the hearing.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Item F is the first reading for recommended Mount Healthy Board of Education bylaw and policy changes. These were just revisions that were completed with Neola to make sure that we're updated on all of our policies.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Oh,
Oh, you don't need a motion for that.
That's right. I am not doing well tonight.
No, you're doing good. Item G is the recommendation to accept the following donation for North Elementary. We had $500 that was donated to purchase school supplies to give away at the Winter Wonderland drive-through event, which was a great success. And we want to thank the Evangelical Community Church for that donation.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the donation?
So moved.
second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes, and before you go on, I would like to say that the videos of the events, well, I haven't watched the one for South yet. We did get it. I haven't watched it. But the video for the one at North, I was just so impressed. It was such a great event. And I was wondering, I assume those videos are up on our website for anyone
They
who
are.
wants to watch them?
Mhm.
Excellent.
They are, and Missy Knight is also trying to push those out to the media to also just highlight just the wonderful work that our staff is doing.
Like I said, I didn't watch the one for South yet, but the one for North, I was just so impressed at how many families came and how much of the staff was there to help out. It was just fabulous.
It was a
I'll
great
be sure
event.
to watch the South one as
Okay.
well. Okay, giving it back to you.
Item H is the consent agenda, and the details are listed there.
Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
and Dr. Turner.
Yes.
Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Item 8, addendum to the agenda. We never have one. Item 9, special orders. We don't have any. Item 10, open discussion by the Board of Education. So I'm going to kick this off. I think it was an OSBA session that I attended several years ago, talked about mission statements, and I kind of always meant for us to look at ours again, and then it just always fell to the bottom of the to-do list. But last month, the Ohio School Boards Association had put out an article on revisiting mission statements, and so I thought it was a good thing to do. Nobody seems to know exactly when this was last revised, if it's ever been revised. Maybe this is just how it was written to begin with. Our district has changed a lot over the past 20 years or so. And so I think it bears looking at again. And if you all decide it's fine the way it is, then okay. But I think it's good to look at it and make sure that it's still serving as the guiding principle for our district. So Dr. Hawkins called me this morning and she said, what do you actually mean by the mission statement? Because we have all these different statements, and we do. We have, if you look at our website, we have a mission statement, we have which is relatively short. We have a philosophy, which is really long. We have a board philosophy, which is completely different. We have kind of a slogan. So I think it's worth looking at it and deciding, first of all, do we need that many different statements? The idea of a mission statement is so that when we come up with a question, do we want to put money into transportation or food or curriculum or different things? We look back to the mission statement and say, does this move our mission forward? Is it the best way to move forward? So I just wanted to open up a little bit of a discussion tonight. And then the way I envision it is, unless you all say it's absolutely fine the way it is, at February's board meeting, we would sort of collaborate together to come up with the actual language that we want. But for tonight, I just wanted to ask, is there anything that any of you think we really need to include or change? So I'm going to start by, this is what we currently have as our mission statement. And like I said, we have lots of other statements, but this is the one that is technically our mission statement. Mount Healthy's Board of Education, administration, and staff are committed to providing diverse, high-quality academic programs designed to maximize each student's potential, a highly skilled and innovative professional staff who reflect our community's values, a safe, clean, and caring environment where discipline and respect are held in the highest regard, and an atmosphere and attitude that welcome parents, family, and community involvement. And as I said to Dr. Hawkins when we were talking on the phone this morning, as far as it goes, that's a fine mission statement, but that could probably be the mission statement for every single school in the country. It's certainly not very targeted to our district and our district's needs. So I just want to ask if there's anything that any of the board members would like to see us add. Do we want to scrap that one and start over completely? Do we just want to add to it a little bit? What are your thoughts?
Well, I want to ask, are mission statements usually that long?
That was something that Dr. Hawkins and I discussed this morning too. And you probably haven't seen them, Mrs. Ellis, but I did send out an email today with some links in it. And I found some samples of different mission statements online. And some of them are like a very short sentence, and some of them are longer. Some of them were at least this long. I don't know if those were among the ones I sent out. So it kind of is all over the place. Like I said, our philosophy on the mission statement and philosophy page is really long. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Do we want something shorter? What do we want to do with it?
You know, what I would have liked to have seen is I think it was 3 different things where you was our mission statement, and you said there was something different someplace else and someplace else. I would have liked to have seen those before I played with what ours was.
I sent those out this morning after I talked to Dr. Hawkins, because then I realized we maybe weren't even all thinking the same way about what a mission statement should be. So I sent those out this morning, and if you'd rather wait till you get a chance to look at those, we can do that.
Did you send it under the Gmail or fuse.net for me?
Fuse.
Okay, see, I was in Gmail and I didn't see them.
Okay. You'll have to give me that address too. I don't think I have that one, but not right now. I'll just say I would like, if we're going to tailor it more to our district, if it's going to be something more than just a short sort of slogan sentence, I would like to see something that includes us being a district that embraces diversity and inclusion. I think that's really important for our district. Also, I had some notes for myself. I mean, we do say providing high quality academic programs to maximize each student's potential, but I think I'd like to see something maybe that doesn't just say we want to maximize each student's potential, but that we honestly believe in each student's potential, that we're committed to helping them realize their potential, and we believe that regardless of their home lives or anything else, that every student has real potential. I think some students just never hear that. So I'd kind of like to have us have that in some kind of statement, whether it's the mission statement or not, I don't know. And definitely we can look at that philosophy statement that's on that same page on the website that is really long. And I think, I'm not sure we need something that long and detailed, but we can talk about that too. Does anyone else have any thoughts for tonight, or would you rather hold off till next month when you've looked at the stuff I sent out? I apologize for not sending it out till this morning, but like I said, it didn't really occur to me until Dr. Hawkins asked that, yeah, maybe we should look at what other schools are doing and you know, what a mission statement looks like. And they do seem to be kind of all over the place among different districts. Does anyone else have any thoughts for tonight?
My thoughts are to review the email that you did send. Definitely agree that our mission statement is due for a revision, and it'll be good to include diversity and inclusion within it.
Okay. Do we want to scrap the old one completely, or, well, go ahead and look at the stuff that I sent out, and we can postpone this discussion till February. That should also be a pretty short meeting, so it's not a big deal to tack an extra discussion on there.
Okay, that works.
I won't say who it was I mentioned it to, but I mentioned to someone that we were revisiting our mission statement, and that person said, I hate mission statements. They're a waste of time. I think one that's too broad can be a waste of time, but I really do think if we try to tailor it to our district and our students' needs, it can be good for guiding us. So any other thoughts on that before we move on? Okay. Item 11, Board of Education report. The date of our next Board of Education meeting is Monday, February 8th at 6 p.m. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Dr. Turner, before we adjourn, I just wanted to congratulate Kenny on his awards that he made at the Central American Games. And we're very proud of you, and congratulations.
Wow.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Kim.
I thought you were going to congratulate him for his 1-year anniversary being on the board.
Congratulations for that too.
Hey, thank you.
And Dr. Turner, for the next board meeting, since we are back in session, will that be an in-person meeting?
What does everyone think?
I'm virtual.
I'm for in person.
We had mentioned once students returned back to campus that we would change to in person. So I just wanted to clarify that before everyone.
Okay. According to the rules, the law in Ohio, we can remain virtual. So let's just have it. Anyone who wants to come in person can come in person. Anyone who feels strongly about remaining virtual, we can work that out. So we'll say that at least probably some of us will be there in person, but it doesn't have to be everybody. Okay. All right. Now, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.